now. Okay. So let's talk about scales and chords. You know that, for instance, the C scale goes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then C again at the top. And we could number these like first note, second note, third note, fourth note, fifth note, sixth, seventh, and then one again. Okay. And if we use this scale to build our chords, right, the notes of here, then the C chord that we would build using the C scale would be C, E, and G. Now, because we're live, stop me if you want something re-explained. It's possible that you're, I don't know, doing 6 or 7 other things. That's the product of Zoom. But the difference between being here live and not is that you can stop me and ask questions. So if ever I get to a place where you go, no, wait, just chime in, ask your question, or ask me to redo something again. That's C major, okay? And then if I did my D chord here, it would be using this D, F, A, right? So that would be D, F, A, and that would be D minor. Hopefully you're good at these, and you could anticipate the E, G, B is going to be an E minor, and F, A, C is going to be an F major, and we don't need to put a large MAJ or anything for that. If you see a chord symbol with just an uppercase letter, just presume it's major. And if we did this right here, that would be GBD, and that would be G major, and this would be A minor, this would be B diminished, okay? And because of the way that these are done with whole steps and half steps, like there's 2 frets between C and D, or 2 piano keys and 2 piano keys, but only 1 right here, right? Just between those 2, and only 1 between those 2. It has a certain flavor and sound, and the chords reflect that. Now, I'm going to give you some stuff that you're going to just believe it, and you'll see it prove true as we look at music. If you look at the chord that's number 1 and number 5 in the scale, these are the 2 most important chords in terms of function. 1 is home, okay? 1 is where the music begins and ends, okay? It comes to rest back here. And 5 is usually the chord that's the gateway keeper that sends us back there, okay? So let's see, I'm going to play some songs. Well, just a few of them so you get an idea. So you know Lavender's Blue. We'll start there. Lavender's blue, dilly dilly, lavender's green. When I am king, dilly dilly, you'll be my queen. Okay, coming up to the second half of the song. And if you've got your music in your packet, that's great to look along at as well. But I'm going to start calling out chords. C chord, dilly dilly, F, G, and C. F, G, and C, dilly dilly. End of it, F chord, and G chord, and C. You see how we come back to C? Because we're using a C scale, and that means we're in the key of C. That's what it means when you use a certain scale to build your music. And 1 chord, whatever that is, in the C scale, it's C. If we were using a G scale, it would be G. And the chord built on that is home, okay? And I don't know if you noticed, but whenever we had a C chord returning in your music, it's always preceded by a G chord. Bum, 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 right? So we call this home, and we have special names, tonic and dominant. You don't need to know them for this course, but if you think of it like this, this is an easy way to remember this kind of stuff. If you think of we're making a hamburger, there we go, hamburger. And if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, just substitute everything with the soy protein, opposite, whatever. But if you think of the 1 chord as the burger patty, okay, and the 5 chord as the bun or bun substitute, now you have a hamburger. Now you have a song, okay? There's other things that can go on the hamburger. Does anybody want to chat, put in chat and volunteer what they think the best thing to go in hamburgers besides the burger and the bun is? Like what do you like the best? Or what do you think is the most popular or common thing that would also go on a hamburger? Have a look at it for a sec. What do you think? Nobody's typing anything. People are like, it's too early for food. Ketchup, lettuce, thank you. Okay, cool. What's the first thing that you pay for an upgrade at a restaurant for? You got your burger, your bun. What's the next thing that they always ask you? Would you like what on it? Cheese. Now, whether you like cheese or not, that's pretty common, right? And actually, if you take this metaphor and think of it this way, like food, it makes a lot of sense in that you can put anything you want on your hamburger, and it's not insignificant. But if you don't have the burger, 1 chord, and the bun, the 5 chord, it starts to be kind of weird. Like, is this really a hamburger? And if you think about phrases in music and things like that, if you don't have your 1 chord and your 5 chord most of the time, right? Then, or something that's an acceptable substitute, then it's not going to sound like a proper phrase or something like that. Cheese, well, we're going to call that our 4 chord, just because it's very commonly used, okay? And most people, unless they hate cheese or are allergic or something, like, find it perfectly acceptable to have in here, right? So we'll put some cheese right down there, right? And if you think of groups of chords and things that you use as like, you know, stuff you put on a hamburger or something like that, there are certain combinations or recipes that make a lot more sense than other ones, okay? Or sorry, are better loved by the public than other ones. And you'll see that represented by what stores sell. Now you can go to New York and you can pay $10 and somebody will put crunchy peanut butter on your hamburger. And that's considered a gourmet thing, okay? But it's sort of also a niche thing. Like, most people don't go hamburger, peanut butter, just hipsters, right? 10 years ago, nobody thought avocado on a burger was a good idea. It changes, tastes change, right? Now, I'm not saying that pickles, bacon, cheese, onions, ketchup, lettuce, tomatoes aren't important. They're absolutely important. And if you think about most people, they have food the way they like it. Some people will tell you that tomatoes are absolutely essential. And if you don't have good tomatoes, you're like a crime against humanity. Some people, including you out there, but especially my kids, will say tomatoes are poison made by God to, you know, to torture children, right? And they won't touch them, right? And so absolutely the other things you put in there change the nature of the burger, but also change the nature of how the sound of the music works, okay? And it's really important because the devil's in the details, right? That being said, if we recognize that the structure around those things that are hung are, the 1 chord and the 5 chord, right? Then all that other stuff is held together by the 5 chord and functions that way. Currently, I have some contractors here, and they're just doing a few repairs. We had some water damage come through our roof, and they've redid some flooring, and they've redone some stuff with the drywall in the ceiling, and they've patched the hole in the roof, and that's great. But they understand that you have to have a foundation and you have to have frame before you can hang drywall and other things. It's like your 1 chord and your 5 chord. Okay, let me try just another couple real quick for you so you can see. So I'm on the, you know what, I'm going to switch to the camera so you can see, because I want you to see chords that change as well. So, hey, Ron, are you going to end up pulling power on me at all?
I'll wait until you're done.
That would be great. We'll be done at 9:55.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Sorry. Otherwise, the internet goes off. And
Yep,
okay, thanks. All right. All right. C chord, key of C1. Here we go. You are my sunshine. This is a burger. It is the patty. And now wait. You make me happy. Can you see on the camera that I'm playing a 4 chord? Cheese, right? You make me happy when guys are burger. You'll never more cheese. How much I love you. Please don't take my... Are we coming to the end of the song? What do we expect? Please don't take my... Now, it's hard to see, but what's that chord? Have a look at it. Or use what we've been talking about. It's a G chord. Thanks, Seth. Right. Can everybody see that's a G chord? We've been working on that recently, right? I mean, we have to for all the pieces we've been doing, right? And if you think about the C scale, C, D, E, F, G. G is my 5 chord. Please don't take my 5 chord away. Okay, so that's how that works. Now, to say that all food has to have a bun around it is not true. And we'll find music that doesn't have 5 chords in it. That's fine. But when you want to make sandwiches and burgers and things like that, and if you want to make songs and stuff, 5 chords are really important. And the 1 chord is home. So we need that. Okay. Let me see if I could do, well, I think that's good. Now, just as an aside, before we head into some other things, I want to give you a concept for after the midterm. Midterm is, we have this week coming up, and then the midterms are the next week, okay? Right now, we've been focusing on triads, right? 3-note chords. So if I say D chord, you go D, F, A, and hopefully it's minor and you know that. And if I said make it major, you'd raise a third, D, F sharp, A, all those kind of things, okay? But I just want to show you what can happen here. I'm going to switch back to the paper pad so you can see this. All right. So I could spell a G chord, G, B, D, right? And this would be the 3 notes of the chord, and this is my root, and that's my 3rd, and that's my 5th. Because, and you've seen this in the video, if I start counting G as 1, A would be 2, not included. 3 would be B, so that's my 3rd. C would be 4, not included, right? 5 or 5th would be D. Sometimes you're going to see a symbol that looks like this. And in the second half of the term, we'll focus on spelling those and understanding them in really great detail. But just follow the theory. So my next note above D would be E, and that would be 6, right? And then F would be my 7th. And that's what we're doing. If you think of this as ice cream cones, this is, you were lucky enough to get an ice cream cone. This is your, I don't know, it's your birthday, right? This is a date that you're on with somebody who's a significant other, enough now that you're comfortable licking each other's ice cream. It's kind of gross sounding when I say it out loud. And then, hold on, this here, this is like an important day for you, like your quinceañera, or you've just turned 12 and that's important, and you do your bar mitzvah or something like that. And so you get the 1, 2, 3, and it's your birthday all at the same time, and your grandma's there, and she orders you the 4th ice cream scoop, right? All right. It adds more flavor to the chord, and you'll see this a lot on the 5 chord. It can happen in jazz on any chord to add a 7th or even a 9th or an 11th or something like that, but it's really the triad plus an extra note above. And the 5 chord that we find often has it, because the more notes you put on it, the more flavor or weight it has to pull you to the next chord. So here's C chord, here's G chord, and here's C chord again. But if I throw the 7th on it, it'll have more pull. I don't know if you can hear that really well across the internet, but that's a G7. And this note right there has a little more pull, and then the normal G chord, which is a little cleaner, right? And there, okay? Now I mentioned that because we're gonna look at a few songs right now and look at chord progressions in them, or sequences of chords. And I'm just gonna turn to the internet for the first one, I think. And you'll see the 7 on the chord, and that's all that means. But another thing that you can think of is when you see that, you're gonna see that that's the 5 chord. Once you know what the 5 chord is, you can figure out what the 1 chord is. Okay, so this is Johnny Cash. I don't know if you know who he is or if you like it or not. It's okay, we're gonna look at different styles today. But he's an important folk and country singer from American history. You know, consummate cowboy with a guitar. And this is one of his most famous songs. All right, these are the chords going by. Okay.
this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the tie that binds. Because you're mine, I walk the line.
Okay, we're gonna stop right there. If you don't like this kind of music, just deal. I didn't like country music when I was a kid. Honestly, I was like the punk rock, new wave, UK kind of thing. We go to church dances and we'd ask for like Sid Vicious and anyhow, punk rock and stuff like that. And when they played country songs, we'd lie down on the ground as in protest. It was pretty immature at the time, but I was 14. You know, forgive me. I actually like listening to country, not recreationally, but when I'm on long trips, because for some reason, when I'm driving through Idaho to Utah to go visit one of my sons at university, you can only pick up a country station. And I don't know any of the songs. So it's really actually really interesting for me. And my wife's a country girl. She likes that kind of music. So I've learned a lot. I also didn't like Beethoven when I was in high school, and I've come to really appreciate him a lot more. Not because I didn't understand the complexity of his music at the time. I was always a music nerd, but I just didn't like the style. I was more into French music at the time. Okay, that's okay. Let's take a look at these. I'm presuming you can see my screen. If I can't, you got to let me know otherwise. But you see these chords up here? There's an F chord and a C7 chord and then another F chord. And then it goes C7 again, and then F, and then B flat, and then F, and then C7, and then F. All right. We're going to try and deduce what scale we're using, what key we're in, and what functions the chords are. Not because knowing the function in itself is a prize, but I want you to start seeing patterns in music so you can make expectations and then eventually make it your own and create with it too. All right. Remember how we said that often the 5 chord or the chord on the 5th scale degree has a 7 on it, and that gives us more pull back to the 1 chord or home. See this C7 right there? All right, that's my 5 chord. That's scale degree 5. So now, if you're really good at your scales, you can count backwards and tell yourself, well, what is scale degree number 1 and what key are we in? Okay, so we've established that C7 is your burger or bun, sorry, like that, okay? C7. All right, so what's my home chord? What's 1? Count backwards from C, calling this 5 until we get to 1. And go ahead and throw that in the chat if you can, right? And we don't have to be like democratic about this. If you're really good at this and you just want to spit it out there, go ahead. And if other people are like, I'm too slow at this, well, they'll catch up, right? It's okay. You don't have to be like, oh, I answered last time. Well, it's one of these other chords here. See? Oh, we got a new message. F. Jessica says F. Seth says F. Cool. F, F. Yeah. C, B flat, A, G, F. This is in the key of F, or we're using an F scale. And if you look, F chords are home and 1. Now, go back to your scale. And by the way, until you have this in your head super well, you can always write it out, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. D would be 6, E would be 7, right? Kind of thing. And we have the occasional B flat chord, which you know is cheese, right? There you go. Cool. And once you learn your B flat chord, you could play this entire song. Well, maybe. Hold on. Now, I want to show you what they've done here with this song, because this is one of Johnny Cash's most iconic songs, okay? And so this was the first verse, and it was in the key of F, okay? We've seen this. It was 1, 5, 1, 5, 1. And then for a little bit of something extra, I keep the ends out, B flat, for the tie that binds, home, because you're mine, 5 chords, bringing it all together. I walk the back home to 1. All right, going on to the next verse. There's a little interlude.
I find it very, very easy to be true. I find myself alone when each day's through. Yes, I'll admit that I'm a fool for you. because you're mine. I walk the line.
Okay. Now, if you're paying close attention and you're good at your scales and what I'm saying makes sense, you'll get this answer very quickly, okay? But rather than waiting for that, I'm going to demonstrate what happened here. So here's our new set of chords for this verse. And you'll note that the chord that's got the seventh on it has changed, and the chord that we ended on and began on changed as well. So when you see what chord did I start on, and especially what chord did the section end on, that's probably home. That's probably one. Oh, I shouldn't use Roman numerals. That'll get confusing. We do that in classical theory and in jazz. We use Roman numerals. Probably one. That's probably one. See this here with the seventh on it? That's five, right? That means we're using a B flat scale, probably. All right. I'll do the notes for you, but if you really want to be aggressive, you have a piece of paper and you write this down too. B flat, C, D, E, F, E flat, F, G, A, and B flat again, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1 again. So B flat is 1, right? F7 is your 5, right? And E flat is your 4. Now, I'm going to switch back to the previous verse so you can see the graphic, but pay very close attention to this. 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1 in the key or scale of B flat. Let's go back to the previous verse. 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1 in the key or scale of F, right? So to build this song, they did 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1 in a key, right? And then they said, let's take our 4 chord and change to that key. Now 4 chord is the 1 chord, and they did the exact same thing. It's literally a carbon copy or like a paste, copy and paste. They just changed the location of the scale. All right. Guess what's going to happen to the next verse? Is going to be the same. Okay. So here we go.
Be true for you because you're mine. I walk the line.
All right. That was our 4 chord before. E flat, remember? And look.
As sure as night is dark and day is light, I keep you on.
You see it now? E flat is now 1 at the beginning and the end. This is 5. B flat's become a 5 chord. 1, 5, 1. In the E flat scale, E flat's got 3 flats, B flat, E flat, and A flat, right? G, A flat, B flat, C, and D, and then E flat again. 1, 4, 5. These are all cheeseburgers, right? And it's great, right? Now, here's a fun thing that I'll just finish this off because we're not going to spend forever on this song. But if we needed to memorize this song and perform it, we don't need all that music in front of us. What you remember is that it's 1, and then it goes to 5 with a 7th on the top, and then 1, right? And then it goes 5 again and 1, and then it goes 4 and 1, and then it goes 5 and 1. And we do it in the scale of F, and we do it in the scale of B flat, then we do it in the scale of E flat, and watch what he does for the next 2 verses. The next verse is B flat, and it does the same thing, right? And then the last verse is back to the original. He's made a palindrome here, right? Although he keeps singing lower every time, so that when he's done the last verse, sounds really, really low.
I keep a close watch on this.
Which is very different than the beginning, where he's singing quite high.
Part of mine, I keep my.
So even there's value because it's changed, but it starts, it goes F, B flat, E flat, and then says we're going to go back in the opposite direction. And you can remember it that way. You don't have to, it's organized that way, and you can write songs that way too. So that's one trick right there. But do you see now how the 1 and the 5 chord and sometimes some alternative chords help you build a song or a phrase or structure? Now, as much as there's every kind of person in the world, there's every kind of song out there. And lots of times they don't follow those rules because most people in the world that have written songs or compositions or whatever didn't learn from a college first and then say, now I will use this technology. College teaching and theory and stuff like that happens, it trails it. People look backwards at the music that happened and said, what's commonalities about them? What are the things that are true about them? And so we are self-aware. We look backwards at them and say, oh, and we can copy it. It's quick and efficient. But you don't have to have all the music theory in the world to make a song. You just need to have sounds that you like. Now, it's nice if you understand about chord shapes, and it's nice if you understand about patterns and things, but you can do whatever you want. And a lot of people do. So I'm going to show you 2 more songs. And one of them is I don't know if you know this song or not. I'll share screen again, and hopefully this is an old song now, but it's still it's played everywhere. Okay. Can you give me a yes or a thumbs up in the chat if you've ever heard this song before? All around the world, statues crumble for me. Who knows how long I've loved you? Do you know this song? Everywhere I go, people stop and they say, 25 years old, my mother, God rest her soul. Lord of mercy. I just wanna fly where you want. Put your arms around me, baby. Put your arms around me, baby. We won't do too much more than that. Anybody familiar with that song? No, it's fine. It's pretty old. It's old, okay? It's all right. I wanna just show you what was going on there. So if you noodle around with your voice and things, you'll find that, one person, Esmeralda has heard it, that the home pitch or sound is this one right here, right? And I know that is A flat, okay? Now, A flat is a more difficult scale, but let's see if you can do it. I'll give you a minute. I'll act as a pace card and come up, but if you really want sort of full value out of this, test yourself. Can you write out your A flat scale? And then can you figure out what 1 and 4 and 5 are? Okay. So I'll start and I'll go slowly and I'll flip over to the pad again. Okay. All right. So A flat, obviously. Here's how I get there. I know my A scale has an F sharp and a C sharp and a G sharp in it. See how I'm cleverly helping you practice for your quiz at the end of the class? Okay. So if I take this and I throw a bucket of flat paints all over it, then I'll get everything that was not flat is flat and everything that's sharp is, right? So I'll go A flat, B flat, C because they cancel, right? D flat, E flat, F because they cancel, and then G, and then A flat again. And this is my 1 chord, and this is my 5 chord. That's my 4. All right. Now, I'm just going to give you the chord progression for this. They go... Can you hear it's just 2 chords the whole time? Just 2 chords. I will flip over here for a second. Now, one of them is A flat. That's the other chord right there. We don't know this chord yet unless you've gone ahead and done some other things on your own. It's not 5. Can you guess what it is? Right? So this chord progression is A flat and D flat, right? All around the world, statues crumble for me. Who knows how long it's going? That's it. The whole song is that, because those musicians, they're great musicians. They're making albums. I have nothing against that, but they do have gaps in what they know. And so they work with what they know, and that helps them make music. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't need extra complexity to make it a good song, right? But there's other elements besides the chords that make the song. But we can see this there, okay? Now, in this song, the whole way through, then you get the chorus. It goes, I just want to fly, right? And it's still doing this. Put your arms around me, baby. Put your arms around me now, right? At the very end, actually, I'll go to it so you can hear it. I won't put the lyrics on, but I'll find it. I mean, I won't. Yeah, let's see. Here we go. Okay. So here's the chorus. Arms around me, baby. Put your arms around me, baby. I just wanna fly. I come up in the sky up so high. Arms around me, baby. Put your arms around me, baby. There's a different chord. So at the apex of the chorus, okay, we get a new chord, and that's this, E flat, right there. Okay, I'll switch cameras so you can see that. It's E flat, right, which is my 5 chord. And it goes, I just want to fly, like that. Okay, that's it. Now, I think because of time, I'm not going to bother with the next one, but I want to show you how having music theory is powerful, because we know that this is a 1 chord and a 4 chord and a 5 chord, all right? As opposed to just, look, they're playing an A flat and a D flat and an E flat. We can do things for ourselves so we can understand or perform the music better for ourselves. For instance, if you're playing an A flat chord on the ukulele, that's super difficult. You have to play these notes here, but you can't play this note up here because that's not part of the chord. So you either have to reach for it, right? Or you could reach over or touch and mute the top string, which is what I was doing. I'm playing these 3 strings here, but I'm muting this string with the top of my finger. So when I play, you don't hear it. Okay. A flat and D flat. Well, it's hard to play in D flat on the ukulele. It's totally doable once you get intermediate and advanced skills. But if I wanted us to perform this as a group together, or if I wanted to take it to the middle school and have them learn it or something, there's no way they can do this, all right? I want you to think about this for a minute now. What key are we good at playing in on the uke at a beginning stage? Think about that. Type it in chat if you've figured it out. Am I good in playing in the key of G flat? No. C. Yes, C. Thanks, Seth. Right? So now, can I transpose these chords to the key of C flat or C? You certainly can. C, D, E, F, G. 1, 4, 5. So if I wanted to play this and sing this on my own, but not do all these crazy things, I could be like, all around the world, statues crumble for me. Who knows how long I've loved you? And I can go like, I just want to fly. I can go to the G chord for the 5, right? I just want to fly. So if you see patterns, you can change this. Now, there's other reasons for changing the key that you're in, not just because it's easier to play, although that's a good one. Maybe it doesn't fit your vocal range. Maybe it's too high or too low, right? So you can change it for yourself. And that's sort of the next step of fluency. If you're going, yeah, I've got my scales, I'm getting them down. I got my chords, I've got those down, and that's great. You have to have those down really solid. You can't do the next step without that being solid. But for instance, if I wanted to play, how about, there's a song called Yellow Bird. Yellow bird up high in banana tree. I'm in the key of G. Yellow bird, that's the 1 chord, 5 chord, alone like me. Now, when the bridge comes out, did your lady friend, that's my 4 chord, 1 chord, meet the nest again. It's really low in my voice, right? And when I get to like the chorus, wish I was a yellow bird. It's like super high, right? So if I change the key from here, wish I was a yellow bird, I'd fly away. It's really low, especially at the end where I go like, so here I sit, but I could change the key. So I'll put it in C. Yellow bird up high in banana tree. It's like good for my voice now. So that's another reason to change. So you see that we will change scale or keys to give function to the song. Like I Walk the Line, they took the same information and put it at different scales and keys, and it creates a larger form. You can see that we change it to be easier for us to play. We can also change it to be easier for us to sing as well. And if we reduce it to there, and you can think like this, then songs are boiled down to very basic patterns, okay? And that's really, really cool, and it's worth knowing and doing. So you actually have been tricked into having all the skills to do that. If you understand it in concept right now, and it's still a little difficult, that just means that we're gonna button down our scales and our chords, and then we're gonna do some focused work on that, and you'll get very, very good at that. Very usable, okay? All right, well, we're at 9:44. So for the next 10, 15 minutes, I'm gonna have you break out into groups and do testing each other. And so what that means is you need to grab your flashcards, the ones that are C major, and then F, B flat, E flat, and G, and A, and D, right? So these ones that we, that have only 1, 2, 3 flats on them like this, right? Okay. And I'm going to put you in breakout rooms. And if you're in 3 in a room, how many people did we actually have show up today? 7. So 6 people. I'm going to put you 3 to a room. So you'll have 3 people. Just round robin test. You test somebody, they test somebody, they test you. Okay. You can decide who goes first. It does mean that somebody gets a little advantage of hearing the answers once. I don't care. Just, you know, if you're nervous, say, can I go last? Okay. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shuffle these up, and I'd get your name first and last, because in the quiz that follows, you have to report that. In fact, I think I'll just show you the quiz real quick. The quiz looks like this. Let's see, pure evaluation. And here's the quiz. It's a report on your, blue scale flashcards. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to say, well, who did you test? Not you. Who did you test? Right? And then how many of these 7 scales could they do correctly quickly? And that means to describe them. They don't have to spell them. For instance, if I say, hey, what's D major? The answer is not D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. The answer is D major has 2 sharps, and the sharps are F sharp and C sharp. Okay, so you're asked to describe the scales, not spell them. Okay, and you say, well, they got all 7 of them. Now you can ignore the rest. If they did not get all 7, well, within 3 seconds, which ones took them like 3 to 5 seconds to get? So that tells me that they know them, but they have to think about them. We want to get them a little faster yet. Okay, or if they didn't get all 7 of them, were there any of them they just got wrong, right? And or that they couldn't tell you how many sharps or flats were, that you couldn't tell you what the names of the sharps or flats were. And then that's that question right there. And then this last one here is just tell me about your own experience. This is, you don't have to write me a novel, but I think since somebody's reporting on you, right, that you should have a chance for feedback. So if you felt like you were tested horribly, or the equipment failed and you couldn't talk to each other or something like that, fine, right? Right here and just say, I didn't get a fair chance to be tested because I was teamed up with this person and they hate me from elementary school because I beat up their brother or something like that. It was a big misunderstanding, right? And they've held a grudge ever since. And I really want to ask them to homecoming, but that's never going to happen now, is it? Right? Kind of thing, right? So if you feel like something wasn't adequate, don't get mad, just tell me. Just say like, oh, I couldn't see the connection, or how about I was so nervous to talk to a live person, I threw up and couldn't finish the test. I'll retest you personally at the end of that. But if it was good, just say, that's good, don't worry about it. It's just an opportunity for you to give a last description if you felt something was awry. Okay, that's it. So it's really easy reporting. The thing you need to get up front is what's their first and last name, so I can mark them on the roster when I check out their grades, right? And how many did they get right perfect in 3 or so seconds? And don't go 1, 2, 3. Go like, hey, can you describe to me a A major scale? And they say, sure. A major has 3 sharps. And I'll do it in Japanese. もちろん A major が3つのシャープです。F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, right? And then that's, you say, okay, よかったね. And then you go, いいですよ、次. And all of a sudden you're speaking Japanese. And then you go, wait a second, this is a dream. I'm not actually in class. All right, it's for real, okay? Don't worry about the minor side. That's not what we're testing now. That's next time. You're just doing the majors. B flat major, 2 flats, but B flat, you'd smile and say, it sounds like you've got this one, you know it, but it's still a little slow. I'm going to count that as like you need a little more practice to put it in the 3 to 5 seconds, right? So it's not a race. We're just looking at fluency. Good. All right. I will stay in the main room here. Let's see if I can remember after so long how to put you in break rooms. Break rooms, pause recording, share sound, meeting info, end meeting. No, chat, no, participants, no, invite. Huh. This would be really bad if I can't do this after all this time. Let me just look here one more time. Breakout rooms, here we are. I would like to create 2 breakout rooms, assign automatically, 3 people in there. We have another meeting next week where you'll be testing each other on playing some chords. So just be aware that next week, same kind of thing, we'll do another get together. I'll go over aspects of the midterm and that are coming the following week, new lesson as well. And then you'll test each other on chords as well. There's a method to this, just one last thing. I want you online working with each other today and then next week playing for each other so that we get all our technology figured out, because on the midterm, part of it you'll submit videos and part of it you'll play live for me. So we want to make sure that you're comfortable with all that technology. Okay, I'm going to put you in rooms. I'll hang out on the outside. When you're done, you do not need to come back. You can just peace out and have a great day and a great weekend doing the last little bits of exercises. Look forward to your other videos that are coming in this weekend. See ya. And go for it. Let's see. Open all break rooms. All right, there you go. You should be able to join your room now. Do you know how to do that, Esmeralda? There you go. Perfect.